Hi guys, welcome and who dat? I'm Joe and I'm here to review yet another post-mortem Monday Night Football contest in the Caesar Superdome between the Baltimore Ravens and our beloved bless you boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints got their asses whipped. This was a regular old ass whipping. Final score 27-13 doesn't do it justice. Title of this video was going to be Saints get their ass whipped on Monday night. I figure I'd leave the title a little less graphic, but I can't avoid saying it because that's what happened. When your offensive line and your defensive line get their asses whipped, that's an ass whipping. We reverted back to the same old junk on offense. Once again, when we managed to make the red zone, no Taysom Hill or Kamara in the game at the same time. I mean, the play calling was just ridiculous. When you let a game like this get out of hand, and it's only 14-3 at halftime, it already felt like it was out of hand by then. Because we weren't running the ball. We weren't even trying to run the ball. That's my issue. You throw a couple of passes, one or two work, a couple of them don't. You try a couple of runs, they don't work. All of a sudden, your best play is Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara in the game at the same time. Nobody else is saying this, but I'm going to say it. And I say it every video, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's the truth. Because we had both of them in the formation in the red zone last week, and we managed to score. I mean, this team is void of playmakers right now. You got Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill and Chris Olave. So somebody's going to get double covered. If you have all three of them in the game at the same time, it's going to be hard for them to double cover everybody. Seems like when Chris Olave is singled up, he gets open quite a bit. Ooh, I'm in a bad mood. Let's bring up the stats so we can talk about this garbage. Offensively, Andy Dalton, 19 of 29 for 210 yards. He had one touchdown. He had one interception. Okay, on face value, it doesn't look that bad, but 4 sacks. He was under pressure all day. This offensive line, I believe, only allowed 2 sacks in the last 4 games. And then we're going to go ahead and give up 4, like we just forgot to show up in our own stadium. We didn't realize who we were playing. This team wasn't that good against the run. They had a couple of good plays against our running game, and then all of a sudden we just abandoned it. This game was too close early on for the running game to be abandoned. Taysom Hill had one snap from center that was a pass. He was 1 of 1 for 13 yards. You know how many carries he had? 1. How do you have a game where Taysom Hill gets behind the center twice? I think there was one run that was called back because of a holding, and maybe he had another snap that was called back because of a penalty. But I mean, you gave Taysom Hill two chances. Okay, Alvin Kamara, there's your other playmaker, 9 total carries. Well, we didn't have that many plays because we couldn't control the ball because we weren't trying to run it. I'm not going to say we couldn't run it. I'm going to say we weren't trying to run it. Because Kamara, overall, what I'm looking at, we had 45 plays. Garbage. You should always have at least 60 plays. But you don't convert third downs. We were 3 of 11 on third downs. You get in the red zone, and then you're leaning on Andy Dalton. Who does that? When you have Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara in the game, who does that? Let's put it all on Andy Dalton's shoulders. Jameis Winston is a much better quarterback in the red zone. If you're going to pass the ball 4 times in a row in the red zone, why don't you freaking put Jameis Winston out there? Seriously. Just have a carousel at quarterback. Because Andy Dalton's not going to do it in the red zone. As much as I like Andy Dalton under center between the 20s, once we get in the red zone, this is a problem. And hey, we got 2 field goals. We were 0 for 2 in the red zone. We got 2 field goals out of it, so it's not like we didn't score. Dwayne Washington, 3 carries, 7 yards. Taysom Hill with the 1 carry for 6 yards. Andy Dalton scrambled twice for 5 yards. A total of 15 runs for 48 yards. 3.2 yards a carry. How embarrassing. 30 passes total, 15 rushes total. Embarrassing. And the defensive line got their ass kicked in the second half. I mean, they were putting up a fight pretty good. We managed to get 3 sacks. We held Lamar Jackson to 133 passing yards. His completion percentage wasn't very good, and he was pretty inaccurate. We had him on the run. And if he would have been accurate, we would have given up a lot more points because there were a couple of incomplete passes there. Wide open wide receivers. On defense, let's finish with the offense. Chris Olave was targeted 9 times. He had 6 catches for 71 yards. Juwan Johnson was targeted twice. He had 2 catches for 42 yards, including the only touchdown. The Ravens gave up on the play because they thought he stepped out of bounds. Ravens gave up on a few plays, which is probably one of the other reasons why the score was as close as it was. Alvin Kamara, 3 catches for 32 yards. He was targeted 4 times. The first pass Dalton threw to Kamara, I knew it was going to be a bad day because it was an inaccurate pass. Kamara had to basically stop in the middle of his route and twist his body in some weird way to catch the ball. And I'm thinking, look, if we're going to do this, just put Winston in the game. Okay, this is the reason why Dalton's playing quarterback. And that first pass to Kamara told me what kind of a day it was going to be. Then you have the Ravens uh, coming with men wide open. People like Ryan Ramczyk missing a block. Yeah, I'm going to give Baltimore credit. We got outcoached for sure in this game. Traquan Smith targeted 4 times. He had 3 catches for 29 yards. Marcus Callaway targeted 5 times. He had 3 catches for 24 yards. Kevin White sighting, 1 catch, 10 yards on 1 target. Adam Troutman back in the game, 1 target, 8 yards. Dwayne Washington also had 1 catch for 7 yards. So overall, the biggest problem in this game was definitely the offense. We couldn't block. We weren't getting the running game going. We weren't even trying to hit them with our best plays. It's as if I don't know what we were thinking. I think sometimes you go in a game and you're thinking, well, this is what my team is good at, and we're going to do what we're good at, and we're going to force them to stop us. That's one train of thought. Another train of thought is, well, this is what that team does really bad, so we're going to try to exploit it. That kind of stuff. You could see it with Baltimore. Baltimore knew that our cornerbacks were young, and they thought, hey, we're going to try to pass the ball. In the first half, that's what the Ravens did. They tried to do a mix of run and pass. The passing game wasn't working for them. They thought they could expose the Saints, and quite honestly, they did. This was the worst game our young DBs had against the less talented wide receiving core that they faced in the last 3 games. That they just looked awful in this game. I'm sure they looked fine in some plays. I'm sure Lamar Jackson held on to the ball and took off running because coverage was good. But he also did it because he's a beast and we couldn't stop him. Let's talk about our defense. Lamar Jackson, like I said, 133 passing yards, 1 touchdown, but he ran the ball 11 times for 82 yards. That's 7.5 yards a carry. Lamar Jackson's a special player. You kind of expect him to go off, and he did. But what they did to us in the second half was embarrassing because they decided, no, we don't have to even try to pass. Let's just run it down their throat. They can't stop it, and we couldn't stop it. And that's what they did. They managed to put up 14 points in the first half, 13 points in the second half. and we managed 13 points total. And this was a complete devastating ass whipping for time of possession. They had the ball 38 minutes. We had the ball 22 minutes because they were converting third downs, 9 of 15 on third downs for the Ravens. We were 1 of 6 in the first half on third downs. We finished 3 of 11. They had 65 total plays to our 45. They ran the ball 40 times for 188 yards. Now that sounds like what the Saints usually do. 40 carries, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.7 yards a carry. And yeah, their running back had almost 100 yards all on his own to go with Jackson's 82. On defense, our leading tackler was Marcus May. He had 11 total tackles. Demario Davis was a man possessed. He had 7 total tackles, 2 for losses, and a sack. Tano Passigno had to play a lot. Marcus Davenport missed a little bit of the game. Passigno had 5 total tackles. Pete Werner got hurt in the game, so Cedric Ellis. Caden Ellis had to play a lot more. He had 5 total tackles, including a sack. Tyrann Mathieu had 5 total tackles. Alontae Taylor had 1 pass defense, 5 total tackles. Carl Granderson had 3 total tackles and a tackle for a loss. Peyton Turner had 3 total tackles and a tackle for a loss. Paulson Adebo had 3 tackles. Cam Jordan had 3 tackles. Pete Werner had 3 tackles before he hurt himself or got hurt. And I'll mention David Onyemata, who had 1 sack. That puts our sack total to 3 on the game. So overall, as far as total yards go, we didn't allow a ton. We just let them convert third down after third down. They were true to the running game, and the running game worked good enough for them where they were able to do it all day long. It was the kind of ass whipping that I'm used to seeing our Saints do. Baltimore played some big boy football today on this Monday night, and Saints look like they forgot to put their fucking pants on. Pardon my French. Everything about this game was awful. We allowed 2 touchdowns on their 4 red zone trips. And, the dome has not been good to us. One of our home games was in London. But overall, we're 2-4 at home this year right now. We have 3 more home games to go. So, if we win our last 3 home games, we can have a winning record at home by 1 game. Our overall record right now is 3-6. And I said in the previous video I wasn't going to focus on our playoff possibilities, but then the very next week, everybody in our division lost and we won, and we were right in the thick of things. Well, technically, right now we're in second place at 3-6, looking up at a couple of 4 and 5 teams. So yeah, technically we're still in it. But this team played awful. Now, our division is made up of all sorts. We've got teams that are really good that are playing bad football, which is Tampa Bay. We have teams that are really bad that are playing good football sometimes. That's Atlanta. And you got 2 teams that are giving you exactly what you expect. Carolina, who's going to win a game every now and then, but looks awful, and is going to end up lucky to have 5 wins total for the year. And the Saints, who give you inconsistency time and time again. One game you look like a world beater, and in one game you look awful. Most games you just screw up and you lose regardless of the competition. That's what we got right now, guys. Our bless you boys looked so good last week, running the ball, playing defense. That's the formula for winning. And in this game, we forgot about the running game. We forgot how to pass block. We forgot how to run block. We forgot how to rush the passer. We forgot how to stop the run. We forgot how to cover. We had some missed tackles again. We only turned the ball over once. We didn't force any, but we only turned the ball over once, and we only had 5 penalties. So I guess that's okay. We didn't miss any field goals. And our punter had 5 punts, two inside the 20. Could have been a lot worse, but could have been a lot better. Still just one loss. We have 6 on the year. That means we could technically finish 11-6 if we win the rest of our games. That wouldn't be a bad record, would it? Wouldn't be a bad record at all for a good team. We're not a good team. I think we'll be lucky to have a winning record. I'm kind of thinking we're going to finish 7-10. That's if we play really good football the rest of the year. Sorry about being pessimistic. You know, we had a roster full of injured players, and now we're going to add a bunch to that list. Pete Werner, our defensive MVP, got hurt. Eric McCoy, our starting center, got hurt. Alontae Taylor, our outstanding rookie cornerback, got hurt. Now he returned to the game, so I'm not too worried about that one. Andres Pete got hurt. Ryan Ramczyk got hurt. Now, I think he went back in the game, and Marcus Davenport got hurt, but I think that he tried to go back in the game too. So that's 6 players added to your injury report for this week, on top of the slew of injuries we're already going through. No Marshawn Lattimore. I really thought we'd have Jarvis Landry back this week. Michael Thomas is gone for the year. Michael Thomas is one of those players where when he's on the field, you can literally get him the ball every time, and you're doing well. And we're not going to have that this year, but we have players like that on this team. Chris Olave, you can get the ball to every time. Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill. We still have enough playmakers on this team to make things hard for opposing defenses. That's if our play caller decides to utilize everybody. This game got out of control. It got away from our play caller. Maybe regardless of how good of a game he called, that this game still got away from him. But when you're down 14-3 at half, it's not like you're out of it. And it kind of felt like we were out of it at that point. I know when they went up 17-6, I was thinking to myself, our defense can still play good enough if we can just, and then we can't move the ball. Then the defense goes out there, we can't stop the run. This one's frustrating. I'm hoping we got something better to talk about next weekend because this team playing like this, it ain't fun to watch. I'm Joe. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos like this. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.